Hey darlings. Kristina went to her friend and felt how her heart was beating desperately. She did not inform Marina in advance about the purpose of her visit, considering it not a phone conversation, and now she had already guessed what reaction would follow on her appearance. No, Marina was a hospitable girl and always gladly welcomed her friend, but she valued all the simplicity and sincerity. And what Kristina was going to do? It was far from all this. It remained to hope that the friend would enter her position and understand everything. There was no one else to turn to for Christine. She parked the car in the multi-story house and pressed the home phone button. Marina opened without any unnecessary questions, and when Christine climbed to the 5th floor, she was already waiting for her at the door. "I don't know yet," said Kristina. "I came to you to find out everything." She was intrigued. Marina let her into the apartment. The sound of the closed door was calming Kristina. Now she was sure that no one was eavesdropping on them. So what happened? Marina took her friend to the kitchen and sat down at the table. "You didn't tell anything on the phone. What kind of urgency is this in the morning? Something happened? Something wrong with Kirill?" Kristina lowered her head and sighed. "Yes, you're right. I really have problems with my husband, and that's why I came to you. Tell me." Marina ordered her, drinking coffee. Her calm, even slightly distant voice acted on Kristina, encouraging. The girl no longer wanted to cry and spill all her problems on her friend. Now she was ready for a detailed, clear story and dedicated Marina to everything. "You see, it seems to me that Kirill is cheating on me. I don't even know how to explain it. Is everything that's going on such nonsense? Is he coming home late? Disappears somewhere and feeds you with stupid excuses?" Marina strictly clarified. "The thing is that there is nothing like that. He comes back from work as before, around 7. It seems he hasn't cooled down. We talk like before, but I don't know how to explain it. I can see that something is rotting inside him. He's constantly worried about something, even if he tries to hide it." Marina smiled. Well. So, based on the fact that a person is not in the mood, you decided that he is a traitor. And the problem is at work, fatigue. Well, I don't know. Maybe he has a middle-aged crisis. Kristina smiled sadly. "You didn't listen to me completely. Now I'll tell you everything, and then you can judge me however you want." "Okay, I'm all in." Marina nodded. "Why did I suspect a betrayal?" Kristina continued. "Very simply, I noticed her traces at home." "How is it?" The friend did not understand. "Do you want to say Kirill is taking his lover to your apartment?" "I'm afraid so. A couple of weeks ago I washed my sheets and found a long hair on our bed. It was light hair, if you want details. And I'm a brunette. In my opinion, someone also dug into my things. Although Kirill denies everything. But I saw for sure that my favorite lilac dress was wrinkled and hung on the shoulders not as before. Then, however, Kirill remembered that he was looking for something in the closet and dropped a couple of hangers, but it was too late. It was like an excuse for a stolen criminal. And most importantly, I noticed traces of lipstick on one of the cups. Half of them are worn, but there can be no doubt. A woman drank from our cups. And I have no single idea who could it be. Maybe your sister-in-law?" Marina said, and immediately smiled. "Well, yes, sorry, silly thought. As far as I remember, your sister-in-law has been years old since she stopped being a blonde, and she's unlikely to fit in your dress." The girls kept quiet. Then Marina asked, "Have you tried talking to your husband? Ask him what's going on." "It's useless," said Kristina with a quiver in her head. "Kirill will never realize if he did something wrong. Remember, he told how he lived in a dormitory during his student years and accidentally took someone else's dumplings? Kirill didn't realize his mistake, although then he told me that he was awkward with the guys. And here's the same thing. I compared dumplings with a lover." Marina said, "You understand the principle. Kirill will resist until the last one. That's why I came up with something else," said Kristina. "But I need your help. Can I use your computer? Of course you can, said her friend. Just explain what we're going to do. Do you really want to hack my husband's email and see who he's texting? I'm not an assistant, you know. I have a high-level computer. Wow. Is this your flat on air? Are you going to film at your own territory? Almost, Kristina said sadly. Now you understand. I set up surveillance cameras in all rooms to see what will happen in my absence. Kirill thinks I was urgently called to work, so the trick is not waiting. If he managed to drive someone to our house, then today it will happen, I have no doubt. And how much did you do it? Marina was interested. Probably not cheap pleasure. Wrong word, said Kristina. You can forget about the trip to the sea this year. But I don't regret it. Everything is better than suffering from ignorance. Nothing happened in the apartment for a while. Kirill had an early breakfast, called someone, and began to pack. Sorry, there is no sound, Marina muttered. Do you think he will go for a lover? Here are the bold girls. They can't come by themselves. Delivery is required. Kristina was silent and drank tea. Her hand was a little bit shuddering, but the girl didn't notice it. She didn't feel the taste of tea. All her attention was focused on the screen, where nothing happened at that moment. Kirill went somewhere. They only had to wait. Minutes later, the front door was opened, and when Kirill turned on the light, the girls at the same time looked at the screen. They were silent for a few moments. Then Marina exhaled. Oh my God. Kirill has always been a little bit unruly, and therefore, one could expect everything from him. But what could it be? They met their husbands 7 years ago under completely ordinary circumstances. Or rather, for an ordinary person these circumstances could seem ordinary, but Kirill always got it right. Even the most ordinary things. It happened in the fitness center. How do you think today will be the same boredom as usual? Asked Kristina and her friend Olesya when the girls were in the locker room. There will be no new. There will. I have no idea. I'm not here to watch my hips, but for my health. Of course. Confused. If you wanted to take care of your health, you would choose yoga or some Pilates. All these exercises are for the weak. Then I come here to cheer up a little after sitting down. Another assumption by Kristina said, maybe this explanation will suit you more? But it's not because of the hips. Believe me. But it was in vain, her friend Karina said. A modern girl should have time to do several things at the same time, and her figure, and looking for a groom. For this they go to the gym. And in the yoga center, who will you find? Some mixed vegan in India? Or an old man with a bunch of fans? BRR. I was in this place twice and I'm glad I escaped. I do not advise anyone. With the sight of a queen who has not gone to the simple mortal, Olesya went to the hall. Kristina swam after her. There were already several people in the hall, mostly regulars. The girls could not afford an expensive fitness center and went to the outskirts, and this place did not use the special popularity of athletes. Kovalyov, Genya, Mikhail Petrovich and Denis, with a sour look, Olesya stated. Not thick. Look. Kristina pointed towards the long-distance trainers, who were almost invisible from the place where they stood. Here's a new face. There was actually some movement in the corner. An unfamiliar guy, almost unpumped up, and therefore looked pathetic and fragile compared to the local strength, was enthusiastically pumping the press. This one, Olesya said. Yes, this is not a guy, but one name. If you choose from the people present, then I'm better than Mikhail Petrovich for the arcane than such a hlupik. He was both gray, but he was brave in appearance, and it's not a shame to look at people like him. Olesya went to the gym, Kristina too, but without showing off her appearance, she didn't get to know each other. After the words of her friend, she felt sympathy for the guy. Kristina herself was not an athlete. She went to the gym only for company with Olesya, but also out of envy. The gym was on the upper floor of the building and came out through the windows into the country forest. Being here, the girl loved to imagine herself as a bird. The main thing is to get distracted from rough jumps, representing a solid group of muscles. Kristina got on the treadmill, set a low speed to stay on it as much as possible for the Vinci athlete. The second one admitted to his weakness. Yes, being next to him, Alessa would laugh at him only like that. And others forever, and also. Maybe they wouldn't laugh out loud. But the newbie's despicable looks were guaranteed. For sure. You're here for the first time? Kristina was informed. Yes, and I would like to hope that this is the last one. But this is something from the fantasy realm. The guy smiled. It's strange. You say that as if you were forced to come here. The girl noticed. Something like that. The newbie nodded. My father hinted that I needed to pump up a little. Even the subscription here was bought for me. I took care of it. But how can you disappoint an old man if he is wholehearted? Kristina looked at him with surprise. Another puncture. The guy looked like her peers. At years old, no less. What normal man, who left school at age, admits that his parents are in charge of him? My name is Kirill, the guy introduced himself. And you, beautiful stranger, Kristina, her friend, who always wanted to be aware of events, approached them. Hello, everyone. What's going on here? Did I miss something important? This is my friend, Alessia. Kristina introduced her. Kirill's interested look immediately turned to Alessia. Kristina noticed this and felt a fleeting shot of disappointment. The friend was beautiful. She knew it. Natural blonde with a luxurious figure. The guys on the street ate her eyes. Compared to her dark hair, the short Kristina was a gray mouse. And not that the girl is not used to it, but every confirmation of her invisibility knocked Kristina out of the way. Kirill was the guy. Very nice. Alessia carefully masked her for a laugh with filial piety. Kristina saw how she looked at their new acquaintance. Like a laughingstock. Kirill's muscles actually looked just pathetic when there was a muscle mountain named Mikhail Petrovich nearby. What are the fates in our gym? Asked Elisa. Get ready for some kind of competition? Kristina barely held on to not push her to the side. But how much can you mock a person? Nothing like that. Kirill calmly answered. I'm getting ready for the summer. I want to be the first guy on the beach. Or if I'm not lucky there, then in the village. We have 500s outside the city. Alessia rolled her eyes and dragged her friend to the side. Kristina, come with me. You'll help me deal with the trainer. Leaving Kirill's office, Alessia took the dumbbells. Kristina looked at her curiously. What's the matter? Nothing. Alessia poked her shoulders. I just saved you from this idiot. Isn't that clear? I didn't ask for this, Kristina noticed. Elisa was surprised to see her. Don't tell me you like that miracle. There's nothing to look at. Skin to bones. Kristina looked at Kirill. He moved on to the next gym and now breathed out, trying to cope with the weight that was immeasurable for his complexion. The girls were training in pairs and kept silent. After a while, there was a rumble in the hall, which seemed to have threatened to break through the floor. All faces turned towards Kirill. He awkwardly spread his arms. Sorry, I dropped the barbell. Alessia looked at her friend with a smile. I told you, not a man, but misfortunes. Kristina did not argue with her, but the kind-hearted expression of the guy who did not leave her did not let her respond badly about him. The training time flew by pretty quickly. Kristina broke up with her friend and headed towards the stop. Behind her back, the car signaled. To let you down? Her new acquaintance from the gym looked at Kristina from the window of a small Honda and smiled. Thank you. You don't have to. Kristina shook her head. I'm used to going by bus. It's not difficult for me at all. And I don't want to bother anyone at all. It's not difficult for me at all, Kirill assured her. And then maybe we'll go our own way. Given what hole we got into with you, the road to the city from here. Kristina was still hesitating, and Kirill calmed her down. Don't worry, I drive the car better than I pull the dumbbells. The girl laughed and sat next to him. The car started to move. I don't understand why you have to make fun of yourself. If you don't like the gym, maybe you should choose something else? Kirill got angry. I'm afraid my father won't be convinced. Is he such a terrible person? Kristina didn't believe. I'm afraid to deprive you of your inheritance for disobedience, just like in books. You almost guessed it, Kirill confirmed without a shadow of a smile. I heard about the device factory. Its director is my father. Are you kidding? Kristina muttered. The device factory was not the largest in their city, but quite famous. Several thousand people worked on it. Even Kristina's father had a recording from there in his workbook. In his youth, he started an enterprise as an engineer. It's no wonder that the girl was amazed. For her, the possibility of meeting the director of the plant or his son was more than to meet a Hollywood star. The girl once again looked at the guy. The guy in the stretched t-shirt didn't look like a fortune teller. You're not playing me, asked the guy, Kristina. If, Kirill said, I don't want to say bad things about my father, but I would prefer him to be a simpler person. Some kind of worker, without ambitions and plans for years ahead. Then my life would be much better. What? Being the director's son is such a punishment. Kristina was surprised. She could not imagine this herself. No, the girl would never refuse her parents. But if they had a little more money, life would have become much brighter. In any case, instead of a dusty city, which would melt away in the heat of the asphalt, it would have been a vacation somewhere in the south. Kirill smiled. My father achieved everything in his life himself, and he's waiting for the same for me. I should have studied at school for 1.5. I entered university for a budget and even lived in a dormitory. Now I understand the profession of the lowest, so there is nothing to envy, I assure you. I'm not jealous, said Kristina, just surprised. I didn't expect that someone famous would be your father. And by the way, why are you telling me all this? Are you going to share with the first person? Well, why with the first person? Kirill whispered to her. I'm meeting you for the second time. Kristina thought. And when was the first? Half an hour ago in the hall. Everyone was laughing at me, and only you remained serious. I thought that such a person could be trusted. Kristina shook her head. Your trust will not lead you to good. Kirill's story made sense. The girl did not think about how such dragon rules could be in a well-off family. Her parents, in comparison with Kirill's father, were angels. Did not scold her daughter if she brought 3 children from school. What happened to the girl's honor was rare. They did not specify in which educational institution and on what speciality she should be admitted. Even for the only smoked cigarette that Kristina, for the sake of childish stupidity, decided to smoke on the balcony, her father did not scold her. He only said, I don't want you to ruin your health. Then Kristina was so ashamed of her father's harsh look that she did not think about continuing the experiment. What if the girl was in Kirill's place? The director's father would probably send her to a children's school or some other place where all the nonsense would be thrown out of the head of the impudent daughter. Or he would make her squeeze out 100 times. Or maybe he would simply deprive her of her inheritance or curse her forever. Kristina thought about all this and forgot that there was not a single one in the car. Kirill was interested in what my passenger was doing in life and what fate brought her to such a sinister place as the gym. The girl sighed. I am an engineer. I went at my father's feet. Actually, in my youth, theater attracted me, but what kind of actress am I? So, amateur level. Yes, I didn't want to leave the city, and in Moscow, girls like me are a pond of pawns. But I wouldn't say that, Kirill said. Believe me, I have never been to the capital and never met people like you there. Thank you, said Kristina, although deep down she thought that the guy could see hundreds of girls like her and not even remember their faces. As she thought, her appearance was the most orderly, average, so to speak. In general, there is nothing much to say, said Kristina. I lived as usual, like everyone else. I studied at school, then I entered university. You definitely won't write a book about me. It will be too interesting for me to read. And in the gym, I went to the company with my friend. She has a point on the perfect figure. So I have to match. Yes, I noticed that your friend is still a thing. Kirill smiled. And what is she doing? Works in the beauty salon. One of the best masters. Wondering why he was praising his girlfriend. For some reason, he didn't want to do this to Kirill. Yes, Alessia didn't need any praises. She didn't have any feedback from her fans. Kirill dropped the girl off at home and left. But for some reason, Kristina remembered this conversation all evening again and again. This guy was kind of strange, as if not from the world of everything. And Alessia clearly had an impression on him. And she herself, Kristina couldn't understand and couldn't even imagine why she was concerned about this question. During their next visit to the gym, Kirill wasn't there. Kristina looked around several times and was forced to admit that this training would be the most ordinary, without any disasters or noise. Elisa noticed her boredom and asked, probably was afraid that he would get a trauma and did not come. Weaklings, they are like that. Kristina did not answer, although the angry words were so torn out. Alessia noticed this and softened the tone. Well, if you want, I'll invite him to my birthday if you like him so much. And if, of course, we see him again. There you will talk to him closer, because in the hall it is not a matter. And he is endlessly some kind of load-pressed. And you in a wet t-shirt, sorry, not a beauty queen at all. Thank you. Kristina replied carefully. I'll figure it out somehow with my own relationships. Relationships? Alessia laughed. Even so? Well, I won't bother you. I wish you happiness in your personal life. Someone was looking at the girls as if they were extra attributes in the gym. They were spinning around and okay, just in case. Kirill hadn't been in the gym for a week, and Kristina didn't expect to see him again when he showed up. However, slightly shuddering, as if after an injury, the girl ran up to him. Hi, did something happen to you? I'll turn my leg. She guessed. Kirill smiled. At work, they started a restock, and I helped my colleagues move the furniture. Kristina shook her head. Well, it seems that you have a birthmark to get a trauma. Not here, so in another place. By the way, where do you work? At my father's factory. A regular lawyer. But besides that, working as a toy maker, as you can see. Probably shouldn't have come today. Kristina whirled, but she didn't have time to finish. Oh, the missing one was found. She smiled. And I already thought you wouldn't make it. Where? Kirill didn't understand. For my birthday. I'm celebrating Sunday and you're invited, so don't forget to dress nicely. I won't have guests in t-shirts. She walked away, and Kirill asked Kristina, is she serious? Absolutely, the girl said. So, you probably have a gift too. She was not happy deep down because Alessia got into her relationship. Her friend always spoiled everything. And what kind of friend she was if they could never find a common language forever? Apparently, the guy was more worried about the next evening than she was. They finally gave each other their phone numbers and exchanged messages times in the next week. Kirill asked Kristina for advice on what to wear, what gift to pick for the namekeeper, who else will be at the party. As if he was going to get married, honestly. The girl patiently answered all of his questions. But deep down she was worried. She did not expect anything good from the next evening. Alessia will definitely throw out something. Kristina was sure of this. But Kirill, who Alessia clearly liked, he didn't suspect anything like that. The girl even felt sorry for him. And in fact, it's a shame. How did he live so many years without learning how to deal with people? Kristina herself didn't dress too much, realizing that if a friend was around, she wouldn't have a chance to attract anyone's attention. The girl took off her dress from the chiffonier, which had been there for 2 years, and remained satisfied. The main thing is that she remained well-built and easily fit into old things, and with the fanciness of fashion, Kristina did not follow too much. In her youth, there was no money. Now there is interest. She wanted to remain a personality, not a mannequin from the showcase, giving this role to her friend. So who dressed up to the fullest? This is Olesya. She was beautiful on ordinary days, and on her birthday she was completely blinding. Kristina spoke very sincerely. You look great. You too. Olesya nodded politely. Kristina had no doubt that when she said these words, her friend counted, and she saw her modest monastic dress. Kirill actually dressed like a groom. Only the butterfly on his neck was missing in a strict suit. He did everything in a hurry, either too bad or perfect. Happy birthday! With unusual fervor, the boy patted the girl, pulling Elisa a magnificent bouquet of roses. Thank you. The girl looked at him. Are you only from the wedding? What is such a pathetic look? Kirill did not find anything to answer and blushed. Elisa, laughing out loud, went to other guests. Do not pay attention, said Kristina. Elisa has always been like this, so she doesn't only treat me like this. You won't believe it. She's always acting like a queen. It was a small cafe in the city center on her birthday. Kristina took the table to the corner of the hall and dragged Kirill there too. Distract him from the attention of Elisa's friends. It was either a guy or a friend's behavior, but Kristina felt as if they were strangers here with Kirill. After a strange greeting, Elisa no longer looked, and all evening she was working with some clever blonde. Kristina, trying to keep her philosophical mood, enjoyed delicious food and looked at Kirill in disgust. He watched as dearly Olesya looked at his cavalry, and he was either blushing or pale. Do you like her? Kristina decided to ask. Who? The guy looked at her confusedly. Olesya, however, you cannot answer, it is already visible. Kirill coughed up. Yes, probably. Your friend is a very effective girl. Don't contact her. Kristina sincerely advised. She despises people like us. Kirill was surprised and looked at her. What? She's your friend. Maybe and no. I'm not sure anymore. Maybe we were friends at university, and now we've grown up. I don't know. Olesya began to kiss the blonde. Kristina got up and pulled the guy by the hand. Let's get out of here. There will be nothing good for us here anymore. What are you talking about? Kirill didn't understand. Kristina smiled. About dessert. What did you think? The girl didn't know where Kirill was taking her. And I understand what's the matter. Maybe I really need to build up my muscle mass, like those guys in the gym? Then they will definitely notice me. Don't. Kristina shook her head. Those pussies have no will in their heads. All their efforts go to muscles. I can't even imagine what you can talk to them about. Here's Elisa. She'll always find the topic. Kristina pronounced the name of her friend and felt sorry for her, but then she bravely continued the conversation. And I never even kissed before going to college. Honestly, you know what I was called in school? A gnome. Because I was small, the last Sharinji were always on the fizz. So don't think you're the biggest loser in life. There's worse than you. Kirill looked at her strangely. Kristina didn't understand what this look meant and asked, What? Is my face dirty in something? No, Kirill shook his head. I just look and understand what kind of stupid people you know. And I too. You're just a beauty. The moment they kissed was a memory that was stuck in her mind for the rest of her life. The moon, the dark river, and no one but them on the embankment. Kirill walked with her all night, and in the morning he took her home and said goodbye to the girl. Kristina, dancing, went up to the 4th floor. Starting from that day, or if I may say more precisely at night, young people began to meet. Not in the gym, as Kristina decided to drop or at least postpone for a while. And in all those places that the convinced Kristina squeezed the boy's hand with all her might, so that there were traces of her nails on her, but the gentleman. But with the romantic melodrama, Kristina, the great soul, left with him, agreeing with the guy that she had never seen such sweet relationships as in this film. My parents divorced when I was, said Kirill, and before that, They lived like a cat with a dog. So sorry, but I can't believe that everything shown in the film is real. What? The girl was outraged by the joke. So if I break my leg as the main character of the melodrama, you won't carry me around the city and treat me with sweet cotton candy? Definitely. But only after I show you to a good doctor. I was in the places shown in the film. This is in Moscow. And not far from the place where the main character walked with his beloved, there is a hospital. You had to go there first, and then go to the attractions. Kristina smiled. Don't say anything, but Kirill inherited some qualities from his pragmatic father. Otherwise, he just wouldn't have survived in this world. Olesya seemed to not remember about her friend's existence. She called only a month after their meeting, and Kristina immediately understood why. Someone told her about them with Kirill, probably one of the chatty acquaintances Olesya, who was washing bones day and night for everyone. Well, hello, Elisa said carelessly. What's new? Nothing. Kristina responded with a calm voice. I go to work, I rest, I don't do anything special. It's an ordinary life of an engineer. Why did you quit training? The friend didn't give up. I'm tired of it. Elisa realized that she wouldn't get anything by hinting and decided to play the open game. By the way, your friend also doesn't say in a hurry, are you not with him by chance? By chance, yes, said Kristina. She would have said right away that you know everything. And it was this that made you call. Not only this. Olesya was indignant. By the way, I'm worried where you were going. You could have called yourself. Me too. My friend. Kristina was silent. From her many years of experience, she knew that it was impossible to shut Olesya up. You can only listen and take to the information everything she says. Well, how is he? You're not still in the mood for boredom with such a guy? I'm not. Kristina called cold. And by the way, he's the best in the world. Better than all your random gentlemen, whom you change like gloves. Olesya was offended and gasped. Oh yes, the lawyer at the factory, how could I forget? I've already collected the dossier, Kristina clarified. I really need it. I have enough information about who he works for. I also need prints. You asked what his salary was. Will you go to the sea once a year? Kristina was very restrained, but now she's broken up. She was never a bitch and was not even going to be her, but talking to her friend left her no choice. Take it higher, she said. I found out who his father was. So if you are also interested, study the full biography of Kirill. Then you will understand that we will have enough not only at the sea, but also at the tour in Europe. That's it. Kristina put the phone down and, without expecting it, cried. The girl was disgusted with how she behaved. She said such words as if she only needed money from Kirill. But that's not true. She just loved the guy and didn't hope for any millions. She didn't even think about them, especially since, according to Kirill himself, his father was a Kremlin. Kristina was so hopeful that Kirill would never meet Olesya again. She wouldn't have to make a friend a searchress for a rich husband, an adventurer, and God knows who. Fortunately, time passed, but nothing special happened. They continued to meet, as before. Olesya no longer appeared in their lives. Kirill looked especially embarrassed in one of their meetings. Kristina immediately worried. Something happened? Do you have any problems? Problems at work? Kirill smiled nervously. My only problem is that I fell in love with you. Kristina silently waited for the continuation. Her heart was beating in anxiety. Does a young man really want to break up with her? Did you find someone better? The guy took out a ring from his jacket pocket. He lifted her and pulled her through. Do you agree to be my wife? The girl almost burst into tears from relief. That's stupid. You scared me so much. Does that mean no? The guy was upset and asked. Of course, yes. Kristina hugged him with all her might and finally cried. There was a problem with getting to know the parents, but Kirill assured that this problem would not arise. Father already knows about you. I told him everything. And you know how strange it is. But he said that in this question he completely relies on me, as if I still lacked a wife to choose for me. And so he already tortured me. Young people laughed. Kristina asked, and your mother? Oh, it was even easier with her. Mom just asked when the wedding was to have time to lose weight a couple of sizes and order a new dress. Who will be my bride? She is not particularly interested. But you definitely decided? Asked Kristina. Because I wouldn't want to force you or something like that. Absolutely, Kirill assured her. In my opinion, in my heart, I have long since, even at the time of our first meeting, realized that you are the one I need. Kristina stood like a womanizer. She will soon be a wife. Yes, how quickly everything went wrong. Nadezhda Petrovna, it seems, immediately registered him as a son and took care of Kirill more tenderly than for her own husband. Kristina ordered a dress for her acquaintance. Practical, gorgeous skirts, and a crinoline, such that it could be worn on other holidays, but at the same time elegant. At least at her wedding, Kristina hoped to haunt everyone, to feel what it is like at least once in her life. The boss allowed her to take a vacation outside the schedule, but instead asked for services. Kristina Mikhailovna, could you go on a week's business trip instead of me? I've known you for a long time as an excellent specialist. I'm sure you'll do great. And then, right away on a holiday. As they say, from ship to ball. What do you think of this option? Kristina had to agree. A trip to a small provincial town, but even before the wedding. But you won't argue with the management. Kirill comforted her. Don't be upset. We live in the SD century. Have you forgotten? We will constantly call each other, write to each other, and think that we will get married very soon and go on a journey to France, as you always wanted. Remember? I'd better stay with you, Kristina said. This week in someone else's city will last forever. Kirill was escorting her to the station and waved after the train until he hid from sight. He kept his promise and wrote the girls properly. The first 5 minutes of the night in bed, imagining the worst thing. Kirill showed up only in the morning. More precisely, closer to lunch. He called and said with some funeral voice, "Hello, dear. How are you?" I, half angry, half delighted, asked Kristina. "I'm fine. But where have you been?" "Kirill, have you seen how many times I've called you? I was ready to leave everything here and go home to look for you." The guy obediently listened to her notes and muttered, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you explain what happened." The girl replied. The boy's heartbreaking story made her want to cry or laugh. It turned out that someone Kirill's friends had a birthday, and in this case, they went to the bar in a small company. "Actually, I don't drink much," Kirill said in an embarrassed way. "And then it somehow happened by chance. I don't know how it happened. I woke up in the morning and I can't imagine how I got home. A failure in memory. The main thing is that everything is fine with you," said Kristina. "You have no idea what horrors I had been thinking about overnight. And everyone is in the lead role with you." "I'm sorry." Kirill repeated it again. Kristina actually wasn't angry at him. All her thoughts turned to the upcoming wedding again. The celebration was celebrated in the cafe. The relatives came from the side of the bride and groom. A few friends. Olesya, of course, was not among them. Kristina's witness called her friend from her work Marina. She was a serious and reliable person, definitely incapable of a twist in the style of Alice. Since recently, Kristina began to appreciate ordinary people. She was simply sick of the sluggishness. Kirill looked at his fiancée all evening, and sometimes sadness slipped through his eyes. Kristina questionably raised her eyebrows. "What is it?" "Forgive me, but the day when I couldn't reach her to call." "Again?" laughed Kristina. "I forgot about it a long time ago." "What are you?" She kissed him and smiled. Kirill smiled in response. The evening went well. Parents, the bride and groom, got closer to each other. The fathers had a dispute about production, but without anger and with excitement, as some fishermen discuss fishing. Nadezhda Petrovna shared a recipe for some pie with Kirill's mother. Kristina could not look at this picture. How good is everything? She whispered to her husband. Yes, Kirill agreed. Great. His mood was still somewhat strange, but Kristina was all excited. After all, Kirill had a lot of patience with his despotic father and could expect any surprise from him. And in general, he had such a vulnerable character. After the wedding, the young people settled in Kirill's apartment. Now Christine had to spend much more time on the way to work, but she did not complain. But in the evenings at home, her loving husband was waiting for her. Svoker once offered the girl a place at his factory, but Christine refused. She did not want to be in a new place about her family with luck. Only that, they are all achieved through personal connections. Let it all go as it goes on their own. They lived with Kirill with their hearts in their hearts. As the girl dreamed, without scandals and dramas that are shown in soap operas. Just like her parents lived, and as always, Kristina dreamed. However, over time, the behavior of her husband became strange, which she could not ignore. Sometimes, talking to someone on the phone, he would keep silent when the girl entered the room or would turn the page of an email. But when she found more serious evidence, the light hair on the pillow was the first evidence. Kristina looked at him for a long time and wondered how he could be in bed. She even looked in the mirror. Maybe she had a gray hair? There was nothing. And the hair did not look gray, rather golden, blondish. The wrinkled dress was another strange thing. The lipstick on the mug knocked Kristina out of the alley, but she didn't dare to ask her husband. She was afraid that the truth would kill her. However, she still decided to go to the hidden camera. Perhaps if Marina is next to her, she will have time to be reanimated. By the time Kristina saw her on the computer screen, she was completely unprepared. Kirill entered the room and carried a child with him, with light braids and a pigtail. Then I turned on the TV, found a channel with cartoons, and went to the kitchen. Cooks cocoa, Kristina said with tension. And I still thought, what did he fall in love with? What kind of nonsense is this? Marina, surprisingly, barely dropped her glasses off her nose. Whose child is this? Kristina was silent. The answer was only asked by one. The girl was Kirill's daughter. But who was she from? And why did the man hide from her for so many years that he had a daughter? The girls silently watched what was unfolding on the screen. No special actions took place there. Kirill cooked cocoa for the girl, poured it into a cup, and took it to the room. Then they sat for 2 hours watching cartoons. And then they gathered and left the apartment. The girls looked over. What do you think to do? Marina asked. I don't know myself. Kristina said. I can't pretend I don't know anything, but how to talk to Kirill about all this? I can't imagine. And what am I going to tell him about the cameras? It's kind of awkward to admit that I was watching him. It's awkward? The friend said. But he was the one who was cheating on you. The girls kept quiet. Then Marina said in a calmer tone, Okay, don't be nervous before time. With such a long time, it's not a fact that he has something with his mother-child. Maybe Kirill is just playing Sunday dad. No more? Yes, I understand. Kristina muttered. Okay, maybe I'll come up with something on the way to tell him. Good luck, Marina wished. And most importantly, without panic. Perhaps everything is easier than you think. Kristina went home and went through all possible options of how to start a conversation. None of them fit. Kirill, whom she considered almost a saint walking on their sinful land, turned out to be an evil cheater. The girl looked about the same age as their marriage. It turns out that the husband was also taking care of someone else. So, without thinking too much, with a sick head, Kristina came home. Kirill appeared only in the evening, when the girl had time to drink 2 cups of coffee and a pill from the pressure. When he saw her, his husband was scared. Honey, are you okay? You don't have a face. Kristina, looking at him, started to worry. I know everything. The girl quietly said, about the child you are bringing here. Maybe you can explain what this all means? Kirill immediately wilted, sat down at the table opposite her, and put his head in his hands. I knew that all this would end badly. Kristina silently waited for the continuation. I don't know where you learned everything from, but it's even better. I've been wanting to tell you for a long time. It was unpleasant to look you in the eyes and lie to you every day, week after week, year after year. Disgusting. Why didn't you tell me? Asked his girlfriend, trying to hold herself in her hands and not to cry. He was afraid. He shook Kirill's shoulders. You know that I've always been a coward. I thought that knowing the truth, you would immediately leave me. And you will do the right thing, if I'm honest. This girl, as you probably guessed, is my daughter. Her name is Elena. She is almost 7 years old, and she is wonderful. The best. Of course, after you. Who is her mother? Kristina inquired, without taking her eyes off her husband. Your ex-girlfriend. Olesya. Kirill answered, looking gloomy. This name completely stunned Kristina. Did you still have something? But when? I couldn't even think about it. Remember that time when you went on a business trip? Just before our wedding, when I didn't get in touch for a whole day. I told you the truth, but not everything. More precisely, everything except the most important. I really went to the bar with my friends and got there well, but apart from us, there was also Olesya. When I noticed her, your friend was already drunk. She started hanging on my neck, complaining that some dentist threw her away. I, a fool, accepted to console her. I didn't think it would go so far. I regretted her, took her home, and there, probably, everything. I think so, said Kristina. So you don't remember anything? I said, I have a memory failure. I remember only the evening and the morning when I woke up in her bedroom. And she was next to me, naked. Kirill looked sad, and Kristina, against her will, suddenly felt pity for him. It was just once? She asked, Have you seen Elisa again? I swear. No. Her husband said, Well, except business meetings. 9 months later, she started writing to me, blackmailing me that she would tell everything to you if I didn't give her money. Now I pay my daughter alimony, but to be honest, I don't think that Elena sees anything from this money. Why? Kristina didn't understand. Something wrong? Everything is wrong, Kirill answered. You probably haven't seen Olesya for a long time and weren't even interested in how she lives. And I know. Your ex-girlfriend has completely fallen. Drinks, changes men like gloves. And Elena lives with her. Kirill slowed down. When I could, I brought her here so that the girl could get a little distracted by the terrible atmosphere. But now everything has become more complicated. Olesya does not want to raise our daughter and is going to move her to the orphanage. I have no idea what to do. Kristina sighed and got up from the chair and turned to her husband. Give me her address. I want to meet Olesya. The girl was going to her friend with a strange feeling, as if she had gotten into the time machine. She seemed to be returning to the past, going to meet a person who had a great meaning in her life and left many memories. So they go to the disco with Olesya and guess how many guys will dare to invite them to a dance. Here, her friend helps her pick up a new dress. So they stay up all night together and hours in a row watch horror movies on the computer, trembling with fear. Kristina guessed what kind of friend she was. For some reason, she couldn't imagine Olesya, who had fallen down and rude. This girl with a model appearance? No, never. This just can't be. Kristina's door was opened by a woman of middle age, who looked much older than her age. Long time ago, untidy, light hair was removed in the back of the head. There was a wrinkle on her face, and on the sides there were extra kilograms. This was a rejected version of Olesya. Surprisingly, Kristina stepped back. Olesya looked at her with surprise. Mom, who's there? She ran out to the hallway and, with curiosity, stood up as a guest. Olesya suddenly turned around and snorted. Go to the room, Don't bother us." The girl took off from her and then ran away in tears. Kristina also struggled to hold on so as not to give a shit. "She came after all," Olesya muttered. "And I was wondering when it would happen. I didn't expect you to need 7 years to dig into the truth. But you've always been close. Why be surprised?" Kristina swallowed the insult and asked, "Can I come in?" Olesya walked aside, skipping her. "What's there? Come in if you come." Kristina went to the kitchen, briefly looking around. The apartment was a grotesque sight. The wallpaper was long gone, and sometimes it was moving away from the walls. There was dirt and dust all around. It would be terrible to see how far her daughter has come. "But," Olesya asked in demand when they entered the kitchen, "I will ask you a question. Just answer honestly," said Kristina. "This is a girl, Elena. Is she really from my husband?" Olesya looked at her. "And what do you think?" "I don't believe it. And you don't believe it right." Olesya answered, "Your husband is a coward, I assure you. Any other in his place would take advantage of the situation. And he thought about you, barely stood on his feet, and didn't even pay attention to me. Although he was in the apartment, he had all the chances. But he fell asleep on my bed waiting for tea, and fell asleep in a dead sleep. And I lay next to him, trying to slow down, but in vain. He is a coward. He is a coward." "Why did you deceive him?" asked Kristina. "Why did you convince him that you had something? And then, so that you don't get everything alone?" "I grabbed my rich husband and was glad. You need to share, friend. And I still couldn't get the elements out of Dennis. There was nothing to take from him, and then he disappeared. One hope was for your Kirill. Why did you now decide to get rid of your daughter?" asked Kristina. "I want to arrange my life. That's why. Men don't need a woman with a child. Give them free ones. And I don't want to pull this load alone. Enough?" When Kristina went home, Marina called her. "How are you doing?" the friend asked carefully. "Everything is fine?" "Almost." Kristina told her everything that happened and finished everything with words. "You think I'm crazy, but I decided to give this girl up." "You're really crazy," she said. "Marino, or saint? I still don't understand. What saint am I?" Kristina waved. "The same sinner as Kirill, even worse than him. I also deceived him. You didn't believe your friend. When is that?" "A year ago. I went through an examination in the hospital and learned that I can't have children, and Kirill didn't say anything, you know? If I tell him the truth about the girl. Although, of course, sooner or later it will have to be done. In general, I saw how much he loves Alyonka. Kirill cannot be separated from her, even if she is not his own daughter." Near the house, Kristina stopped and looked out the window for a long time. Somewhere in the apartment, Kirill was waiting for her. Naive guy, who was easy to be surrounded by fingers. Kristina was no longer going to deceive him. She will definitely tell him the truth, but not now, but later, when she, Kirill, and Elena will become a real family, inseparable.